Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Expert Division in the Mountain Tournament. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Let's go. First and foremost, I'm going to show you a way to get very close to the green and sometime to the green itself, because the Apocalypse level 5, we're going to aim just by the mark of that rough by the bunker on the left. Max topspin, max side spin, just a little bit of the ball to the right of the aiming area or aiming circle, and then we're going to slice this ball towards the green. You can see here, coming in between the rough and the bunker here, having ourselves a very short and nice wedge towards the pin, which would give us a way to lock in the eagle. Have in mind that the rings and the adjustments are different depending on the driver that you have. But for the Apocalypse, that is the aiming point where we're going to go for. And if you do have a Thor's hammer or an extra mile, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will be happy to help you out there with that as well. If you do not feel comfortable playing with that shot, which I don't blame you for not feeling comfortable with, then you should just use the wind, drive it over the bunker and lay up and play either a wedge or a short iron towards the pin. Second shot is 10% extra when you play, so you actually are playing that one downhill. But you can see here we are having a very short wedge, and this is a wedge that we should be making every single time. And start off with an eagle, that's always going to be very, very helpful. Before we go to hole number 2, check down in the video description down below, and you can see direct timestamps to all the holes in this playthrough for Expert Division. Also the link to our store that you can buy some hoodies and other fun stuff. And last but not least, check out patreon.com/golfclashtommy, book a training session and improve your game a little bit faster than you might have expected. So you can see here our opponent is a little bit short here with the drive, but in the end it's still on the fairway, and this is a shot that you're going to do with either your long iron or your short iron. That is going to be the result if you're going to play it more conservative with the drive. But I wanted to show you the aggressive way here, as I know many players are requesting that, as for the first shot being pretty easy in terms of that we're not having that many obstacles. Second hole here, X-Mile level 8, and you can play this shot with whatever driver you want. Titan, do you just use a little bit more wind? Max topspin, 3 bars of side spin to the right. We do not want to use more. I'm not going to add anything for elevation here, and I'm going to adjust the rings here from this. Is going to give ourselves 4.6 rings, and then we're going to adjust this. We do get the right angle, then we're going to drag it up towards the max, and then go with full overpower, all to gain as much distance as possible for the for our second shot, or like for the first shot towards our second shot. You can see we're going very close to the rough there on the right, and you could stay away from side spin to the right or just aim a little bit more to the left. That you decide yourself on how you want to do. This is going to be a much tougher hole to make an albatross on than it was before, as the green has been changed slightly. And that is something that we will have to have in mind, that it is not going to be like the bounce it up and then you're going to many of the times roll straight towards the pin. And you're going to see now for the second shot how it actually has been changed. So our opponent here going very, very close to the top, and if you want to lay up, that's absolutely a very you can't do it better there, then you will be close to the top. But I do suggest with tailwind, try to go over. Worst case scenario, you're going to be in the rough or in the sand, and you're still going to have no problem to reach for the pin in 2 and secure the eagle. I'm going to play with the Goliath, max backspin, aim for the top of the fringe there. I'm going to play the Goliath in a minimum distance of my club, slightly over adjusted to the left of the pin due to the bounce that we're going to have coming in slightly left to right. Minimum distance for us with the Goliath level 7 with 9.2 is going to give us 3.7 rings. We do hit it perfect, and as you can see, we do bounce, but we're coming in a little bit short and also a little bit too much to the right. But you can see the thing, you can see also the green here is absolutely not just straightforward towards the pin. It's definitely going to be a little bit bumpy as well. So that was hole number 2, and we are going to go to hole number 3 and see if we can lock in that hole in one for ourselves. So there we go to hole number 3 here now, and let's see here how we're going to do. We're going to play sniper, minimum distance of our club, and I'm playing with a kingmaker here, and this is definitely a sniper hole in my opinion. I'm going to play this shot. As for having 4 bars of backspin, I would suggest to go with 1 bar backspin more than I'm doing here in this playthrough, to go with 5. 2 bars of side spin to the right, having the red ring just coming inside the rough there on the top. 8.1 is going to give ourselves in the minimum distance, but also with 10% extra in adjustment is going to give ourselves 7.2 rings. We do hit it great on the right side, and that is definitely going to miss on the right side, even if we come in very close. But we're definitely going to need to hit the ball perfect to have a shot for the hole in one. So we slightly missed that one, but you can see the thing there. We are in minimum distance. We do play with a power 3 ball because that gives us, that makes us to be in minimum distance of our club. We're going to go with 5 bars of backspin instead of 4 to just not gain that much speed towards the pin, as we don't want to bounce over the hole and miss it by going like straight forward. 2 bars of side spin to the right, and those 2 bars is going to be there to work for compensating for the bounce that we are going to have from right to left. And then we need those 2 bars of side spin. We would otherwise, we would if we like I usually use this the squares on the green to be able to compensate for the wind there. But as we do have the rough on the right, I don't want to compensate into the rough and miss having the open way for the ball guideline. Then we use the side spin, 2 bars of side spin instead. Now we go to hole number 4, max side spin, and I'm going to play with 4 bars of top spin here. Then I noticed like, okay, we do have some slight headwind, then we need to change that and go with a little bit more top spin and change our landing area. So 4.5 bar, and I'm going to use the bottom of the shadow of the tree to combine with as much side spin to the right as possible. And then we're going to adjust this shot for being in max distance of our club. And you can see I'm having an Apocalypse level 5, but you can definitely play that one with whatever extra mile you may have. And also the Thor's hammer. We do want, the thing that we do want as a result is to gain as much distance here on this fairway as possible to get up there to the top and have an open shot towards the pin. 4.5 bar top spin works absolutely perfect, and from this position we definitely have a shot for the pin, as the wind isn't that hard with the slight amount of tailwind and crosswind that we're going to have for our second shot. So our opponent here is going to play, or like try to go left side. I do not believe the left side is going to be the way to play here. With this minor headwind, we do have to overpower, and that is always going to be riskful. Now this drive becomes absolutely perfect, but in the end you can see we have a more open shot towards the pin than our opponent has, and that is again why I'm playing on the right side, so we do not have to struggle and play with curl or very close to the rough on the left. So I'm going to go with 4 bars of backspin. That is my normal backspin approach on this shot, and I'm going to aim, so my second bounce, at least according to the ball guideline, is going to be just by the fringe. But we also need to have in mind that we're going to have an extended ball guideline due to the tailwind that we're going to have, slightly to the right of the pin as well, due to the crosswind that we're having. And now we're going to adjust this one for 6.8 rings, and we hit it perfect. And the side spin as well to the left is going to help us push ourselves in towards the pin. We're coming in, but we do compensate too much to the right. Very nice speed here for us though, and something that we can definitely build on. and definitely going to move that one just being a bit just more straight towards the pin for the next try. You can see here for our opponent having a Goliath with this type of angle is not, in my opinion, the best way to play this hole. I do believe, like, can we find a snipe range and also having an open shot as we're having, I do believe that our possibility will increase big time, or percentage wise it will increase big time of dropping this shot from distance. But this was hole number 4, and now we're going to go to hole number 5, and hole number 5 is going to be a course that, what can I say, it's going to be a general birdie hole. Our opponent is, that you missed like what type of driver our opponent had, it was a big topper, and I could see that directly that with this type of wind we're having an expert, there is, in my opinion, no way that we should be trying to go over. Apocalypse level 7 maybe, but then I would definitely question why you would be down in expert, to be honest. I'm going to put this one as plus 10 yards with Apocalypse level 5. Have in mind that that won't be the same exactly for the extra mile or the Thor's hammer, but I will tell you it after this shot, and I'm going to tell you what you're going to look for there. 6 rings for the 7.8 because we're adding 10% extra to our adjustment due to playing downhill. I'm not using any type of topspin, any type of side spin or backspin. I'm just going to play it without, and this is going to be definitely a good distance here. With the extra mile, you put it into max distance. And then adjust your numbers from there. That's going to work very good, and that's the same for the Thor's hammer. Then you don't have to drag back. The only reason we drag back is because we do have an Apocalypse of 5 with 240 yards, and then we need to compensate for those yards that we're going to have extra. For the second shot now, and now I know I've been kind of pushing to go for the rough bump so we can line up and have an open sniper for the pin, and that has been with the knowledge of that with any type of headwind we kind of need to do that, but with this type of wind that we're going to have combined with slight tailwind combined with the crosswind, then we're going to try to go as far as possible here on this fairway to give ourselves an open shot with our thorn or the hornet or the claw from distance. Here, if you do not have a Cataclysm level 6, you can play with the big dog, will work very well, or if you do have the horizon in level 6 or 7. But the big dog would work all the way from level 5 plus, and I would definitely change from the big dog to the Cataclysm when I have the Cataclysm in level 5. If we do gain a lot of distance with our drive, then we don't need to go with max what can I say, with max overpower, but I kind of have that as a reference to go with max overpower, so we do want to gain as many yards as possible for our second shot, because that is going to potentially put ourselves in a way where we're going to have a more straight wind without having like completely straight, but at least we're going to have it a little bit more straight than having it from this angle as our opponent is having. So if you do go from the rough, then you can't do much more than what our opponent is doing. Max backspin on your wood club, curl it in towards the green, and just be happy with a birdie. But at least with this way that I'm playing now, I'm definitely putting ourselves in a position where we can drop the eagle from distance, and then you really need to find a way to get that thorn or get that hornet down in your book with your notes. So I'm going to take a look. There is min, there's max, and I'm going to play this one for being in medium distance of our club. And as you can see there, I'm aiming up and I'm using 1 bar of backspin, but then I take a look again and then I take away the backspin, as I'm still going to be able to have a flat bounce, edge of the right to on the cup way to just compensate for the slight push we're going to have to the left. And then we adjust medium numbers, no elevation added, 3.2 rings with the thorn, and then we hit it perfect. You can see here coming in very nicely, going to bounce and going to roll, and we're going to take the pin, coming in a little bit hot. So maybe I would see us playing with 1 bar of backspin anyway to just keep keep it cool, you know. No, but still, like keeping it a bit slower than it came in there, because if we came in on the side, it's not going to drop all the time if we come in that hot that we did there. But you can see the point, medium distance of our club, and we took a look. We did take a look if we were in medium distance, maximum distance, or a minimum distance before, and then we did go with that. No elevation adjustment. That is going to work for you, but very, very tough hole. Everything needs to be there. Good drive, good second shot, and then spot on third shot, and then you can gain that eagle. That is definitely going to be an advantage over other players, which will not get that eagle every single time. So now we're going to play hole number 6, 10% extra, and we're going to play in medium distance of our club. And I'm going to aim, and I'm going to compensate a fair bit. I'm going to go with 4 bars of side spin to the left with 2 bars of backspin. And you can see here I did compensate over that for around 1.5 1.5 squares on the green. And you're going to notice that this is going to be too much. I played 1-on-1, so 7.1 rings. So it's medium distance with 10%, but an easier way to go with is 1-on-1. You can see we did go and we did bounce with too much of side spin there, and we need to remove and go more straight at the pin with a 1-on-1 adjustment. That is actually really good to know. Okay, so now we're going to play, I'm going to show you 2 ways on play hole number 7. Per request, there is going to be one way where I play it more conservative with my drive, going with a thorn backspin approach. Then there is going to be a way where I'm going to go for a hook shot, trying to land the ball on green, or at least fairly close to the green, so we either have a rough iron shot or we're going to have a wedge shot towards the pin. So 3 bars of side spin, 2 bars of top spin here. We're going to aim up, so I do have the white ring just by the bottom of the water as a reference. I'm going to play 10% extra, and I'm going to play this one 5.8 rings. Hit it perfect. So the drive is going to travel a little bit further as we're playing downhill. This will end up beautifully, and we're going to have a very nice chance for the approach here with our thorn. And you know, if we wouldn't be having this type of wind, then I would be playing with this. I like playing with this backspin approach. I feel very comfortable with it, but as I know that we actually can go for green if we do have the not maybe the club for it, but because I think we will all have, but the guts to do it. Because if we are just slightly off with our adjustment for the hook shot, then we're going to be in the water, and then we're going to lose 1 shot, and that is not going to be good. Our opponent is trying to go with max curl and hit it great on the left side, and just barely touches the rough and go into the water. And again, that is not something that we want to do, so we need to really decide from the beginning, and we really need to learn how to do that shot, where our reference is going to be before taking it. So now we do have 7.6. I'm going to compensate. You can see me being in max distance of my club almost, but I'm going to adjust it as for being in max distance of my club. You can see I'm going with approximately 30% of the of the green's square there to the left, and that is going to show itself be a little bit too little. 4.8 rings. And the thing that we want to do is, of course, going max backspin, letting the ball bounce upwards here and then fall back down. You can see we're coming in very close, but we need to move that target a little bit more to the left. I need to compensate a little bit more for it to be spot on. But that is definitely a very good opportunity for us to make that shot for an eagle from distance. And I can say it's, in my mind, it's almost a 50-50 depending on how you feel for the hook shot. And now I'm going to play the hook shot for you with an Apocalypse level 3, max top spin, max side spin to the left. And I'm going to use the third piece of rough in terms of darkness, having the blue ring just touching the edge of it while fully outdrawn with overpower. I'm going to go with max curl and a slight amount of overpower, and then we're going to hook it. You can see here we're going to bounce, we're bouncing nicely on the fairway, but look at this speed that we're going to get, and we're going to bounce ourselves in the rough. From this distance, we have a very short rough fire, and this is a very, very good possibility for us to make an eagle. But something that we do need to have in mind there is that that shot is going to be sometimes bounced ourselves in the rough, or sometimes in the sand, sometimes we're going to land on the fringe, and sometimes we're just going to go short. The thing that we could do differently there is that I could go with a little bit less curl, but also I could go with then a little bit more power. So a little bit less curl with more with a little bit more power, but that is going to be such a close margin, and I would have to say that I can take that approach and definitely see that as a good opportunity there for us. Our opponent goes short. That is also a way to play, but in my opinion, with this type of wind, we're either going to lay up on the top of the fairway, go for the backspin approach, or we're going to go for the hook shot. And if someone asks me for the rings, no, I don't play with the rings here with the Apocalypse. I find reference spots on the either the fairway or on the rough or in the rough, and that is why I tell you there from the third part of the rough to the right, that is in terms of darkness, that is where you want to have the blue ring cutting the edge. And you can see that if you pause, rewind, and you will see my reference spot there on that piece of rough. Ship it in for an eagle, and something that I'm definitely going to be very happy with to get in expert here. So now let's focus on hole number 8. 2 more holes to go. Hole number 8 is going to be a par 3, which we're going to over adjust because we're playing this one very downhill, 20% extra. And that is going to go with 2.5 bar of backspin combined with 1 side spin to the right. You can see I do compensate on the green with one square on the green to the right of the pin. You can see me being very close with my red ring towards the rough on the top, and I would suggest that you actually put yourself too close to the top. So if we're having a little bit more headwind than having crosswind, for example, when you play, then you're not going to go short. We do hit it perfect, and as I said, 20% over adjusted. We're slightly coming in there to the left of the pin, and then we either have to compensate just a half square on the green more, or we need to go with just 1.5 bar side spin to the right instead. So it's two like minor things, but that is definitely going to help us improve being very close towards the pin. So we're definitely going to go and have an easy birdie here, and this is going to be a shot that is possible to drop. If you feel that you have a bunch, or you do want to spend some win 5 ball, win 4 balls with less power, you can actually play the rough bump with a quarterback or the rock, and that is also a way to play. I'm not going to show it here in this playthrough, as I do feel myself that that is not a common way to play the hole, so then I stay away from that. But definitely show me if you do have played it with a rough bump. Again, I'm all for rough bumps, and I do show it as soon as I can, I believe. But now we're going to play against Gavin here on hole number 9, last hole, and here is all about to secure the eagle. I do see many players playing with a hook shot here, and you know, sure, you can do that. I remember this from a tournament like way back. This has only been in one tournament, I believe. I think it was like Creepy Cliffs or the Haunted Hills. I think it was something at least. I don't know. I will have to maybe. Yeah, doesn't really matter. First, I'm going to explain my shot here before I'm going to continue to talk what I want to talk about. Max side spin, half a bar of top spin, and that is going to be the same adjustment with the extra mile, with the Thor's hammer. And I do highly suggest that you are not going to drag out adjustment more, because we're going to adjust from max distance of our club. It's going to be 5.8 rings with 10% extra, because we're playing this one downhill. You can almost see that we're playing this one downhill. Hit, unfortunately, great to the left, but we're still going to get it over. And you can see there, even with a half a bar of top spin, we're definitely going to bounce over the rough, no problem. And with playing with the Thor's Hammer or the extra mile, it's going to be max curl to the left. With Apocalypse, I would suggest that you do not play it completely max, as you have almost, we can say it's or let's say like this: do not play it max curl when it comes to playing on an iPad. Play it max curl as if you're playing on a phone. Otherwise, stay away a little bit from max curl with the Apocalypse. Minor things, but important to have in mind. So, the thing that I wanted to say there is like the hook shot. I don't believe that we're going to gain that much of an advantage in terms of getting the Albatross. That is why I do feel more secure to play a very conservative drive, in my opinion, and do not risk the rough, water, sand. So I would be possibly in a very, very tough and dangerous situation to even get eagle. Max side spin, 1 bar of backspin here, because we do have some slight tailwind. We can also reach over the rough with our bounce, and then 1 bar backspin is definitely going to be possible to apply. Drag it up a little bit here, so we're going to just see that we're going to bounce over the rough, and then we're going to adjust our numbers. I'm not going to add anything here. If I do want to do something, I can subtract 5% because it's played slightly uphill with this shot. You see we're bouncing in nicely, and with that bar of backspin we're going to stay definitely with a good margin away from the rough. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was a little bit of a longer playthrough for expert this time, but I really wanted to go over 2 ways to play hole number 7. I also wanted to show you that aggressive way for hole number 1, and I think to mix it up with aggressive ways but also more conservative ways is going to be the key when it comes to playthroughs in the future. As per request, there is many players that do want to play aggressively, but there is also a big bunch of players that do want to play conservative and have a wedge shot or a short iron shot towards the pin. I don't judge there. You play how you want to play and how you feel will be the best advantage for you with your clubs and your game. Have in mind that when I play aggressively, I always do describe the conservative way as well. That's the same if I play the conservative way. I do try to always describe the aggressive way. So listen to what I'm saying, even though I talk a lot of Swinglish, but listen to what I'm saying, and then you're going to get it, and then you're going to play a good round in expert. I do believe we're going to see scores around -28 to -30 in expert. And because people will get more dialed in, but we'll see what happens really. I do want you to make a comment if you do have any questions, and also check out the other playthroughs, rookie, pro and master, here on the channel as well. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and here in the end I want to wish you the best of luck in the mountain tournament.